out for the first action?
Well, we had a lot of things that were going on in the game, but we're going to focus on the last fight. The most important thing here is Prestivan actually moving his Nunu directly in front of all the carries on the side of Odessa. Look at that first snowball. There were at least 7 units in the air for 2 seconds of crowd control going in there. It was the last second swaps that made all the damage difference, and he even gets the second one here.
And it was so fascinating to see it in the context. We knew the Movistar KOI almost had no chance of pulling that one back in, but they did try everything they could towards the end. An amazing game from Prestivan, and hopefully we get plenty more of that in Game 3.
Well, let's find out if we do, man. Game 3 is going to be electric. 2 rosters with a storied history when it comes to the organizational sake, right? And vitality also for the club championship points. Surviving here would be massive because it puts them one step closer to top 8. We've been listening in to what you guys have to say out in the chat. Let's bring up some comments to see what all of you are thinking, right? Which sometimes is kind of scary from the chat, but hey, go Game 3. We're starting off easy. iSteam, great to see you. Hey, go Game 3. The most truest statement I've seen from chat yet.
I think we deserve it. I think iSteam's absolutely right. It depends when they said it. The Akali 2, of course, you know, it felt like that was the defining unit of that entire game.
I've seen that comment, I think, 3 million times, and it's going to continue to keep coming. I think chat's going to continue to say it. Generational throw.
Ooh.
Getting spicy. What do you think?
Oh, well, I think that game was really unusual with how fast-paced that was. We really saw a couple moments where I felt like Odessa, 7-win streak in the middle game, was going to take it over, but the rolldowns on stage 4 didn't actually hit that well for the side of MKOI, and that gave Soju the chance to come back.
Prestivan clutch. Bang! The Geo, absolutely. Prestivan did, in fact, get that clutch, and he needed to. If he doesn't, vitality, they don't tie this series up.
Yeah, of course, for Prestivan, I think he's certainly a player who's looking to accumulate those kind of big moments, those big finishes. For the entire team's weight to be on his shoulders in that game, I think means everything.
That's right. Well, hey, we've got an update from Stream B, and we need to listen in close because, again, that was another elimination matchup. Kitty, whose key ended up being crushed?
And for our final Stream B update, we had Nongshim Red Force versus Nemesis in the lower bracket, where Nongshim Red Force was able to win the series 2-0. That unfortunately also means that Nemesis are officially eliminated from the Esports World Cup. The stage lights were too bright, and we have to say goodbye to both Nemesis and JDG from the tournament, as their keys will be crushed tonight. That's going to be all from Stream B, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the games remaining on the main stream.
Man, it's tough to see keys get crushed. This was the last one to be crushed over on Stream B, and unfortunately for Team Nemesis, I was hyped up for them. I wanted to see them go far, but Nongshim Red Force had other plans.
And that does mean that there's only one representative left from the Americas. It is Vitality on the stage right here, trying to avoid 3 America teams being eliminated here in Day 2.
It's tough for sure, but the competition must go on, and it will go on to a Game 3. My goodness, Vitality bring it back, so much on the line, but Movistar KOI are also looking phenomenal. It's not like Vitality walked away with that game number 2. It was down to the very end. So going into Game 3, boys, you want to make any spicy predictions? Or maybe even just talk about general strategy as a whole for the winning side?
I'm going to go first. I've been watching K3 Soju for a long time. I've seen their ups and downs. Every time America looks like they're out of hope, he has been their last hope. We saw it in Space God's TAC round, the only one to make it into the finals. He is going to carry America's on forward.
All right, going Vitality. What about you?
I've got to be going with Movistar KOI. You saw at the end of that last game, what was important for me is that, again, they looked focused. They didn't actually look upset. We've seen a lot of teams getting very emotional after a match loss, losing their focus, then just tumbling out the series. You can see they were having that deep conversation saying they needed to reset for Game 3. I still have ultimate faith in them.
All right, well, let's see who's going to end up taking it. We head to the stage in just a moment.
Final game of the day. It's 1-1 between Vitality and KOI. The rivalry is huge. The regional pride is huge. Last game to stay alive, Rob.
Yo, this is what it is all about, ladies and gentlemen. 1-1, someone has to go home. They have both prepared, they have both done all the work, but now it is about, yes, one who wants it more, but in the end of the day, who is more clutch? It seemed like Movie Star KOI is about to hit him with a 2-0.
Listen, that was that close, but the clutch factor is always there. Vitality has to pull it for the fans, for the club, for everything. Last chance, we love to see it.
And for my boy, Milk, who, of course, this might be Milk's last event. Is it going to be a Cinderella story, or is Movie Star KOI going to play spoiler? Ladies and gentlemen, 1-1, it all comes down to this. You only get this type of energy, this type of hype right here at the Esports World Cup for TFT. Let's get started with Game 3.
Do or die for MKOI and Vitality. This is it. One will advance further in the event. The other, their dreams crushed just like their key. One last ride for Milk. Does not want it to end here.
There was already so much pressure on Vitality, and now we've just found out they are also the last remaining hope from any America's roster in this edition of EWC. Coming to this Game 3, key thing to note, Ahri and Soraka are going to be our gods. Extra gold from Ahri, extra HP from Soraka. I will make note, MKOI qualified through the qualifiers in EMEA, beating M8 because they got a 12 HP team heal from Soraka in stage 4, which allowed them to scale into the late game and have a crazy comeback win. We'll see if the same can happen in this Game 3. Also, it will be loot sub, Casanova.
Yeah, loot sub everybody's gonna be a little rich overall in this game. And for me though, when I look at the names, with the nameplates on, you're looking at players like Setsuko, who we know what he can do with a lot of money. He's been known to be able to cap boards higher than anyone else in this game, not just in this tournament. And so that is going to be who my eyes are on as well. Clement was saying Soju has been the hope in this set, and maybe that will be the case as well. But Setsuko has been bringing it this EWC. He's been unleashed at playing those cap boards, and this is a great way to set him up for that.
One very cool thing to look out for here on the 2-1 augment selection. Until a player does not choose an augment, no one knows what kind of loot you're getting on 2-1. So there will be a wild, wild west showdown between all the competitors trying to stall their augment selection to not give any additional information to the rest of the opposing team in terms of, do you get an emblem? Do you get some gold? What is it that we're playing for in stage 2?
See Prestivan holding on to some Cho'Gath, does have a Cho'Gath 2 available to him in his shop. We know that the Cho'Gath was something that MKOI looks for. Prestivan could try and go into that lane in this game, but with the amount of money available, there is some pros and cons to the one-cost reroll. You could hit it fast, and then you can level very quickly because you have all this econ. But also, if everybody is so rich, there is maybe the struggle of falling off when you do play around those one-costs.
Well, Safo and Setsuko immediately went for spreading roots. Now everyone on their team has information on what they want to pick for their augments on 2-1. We'll see what it is that Lootsub is giving these players.
I've seen this game before. 3 copies of Cho, Frontline Foundation, into 3 more copies of Cho. It was exactly where Zeta Division was able to find the win. There was consideration for that pick from Prestivan, but he does not do it. He ends up going towards concentration instead.
The loot sub not too impactful, just a tiny bit of gold for all of our competitors. And alongside Ahri, maybe going to be a pretty big help in terms of reaching those higher cap comps in stage 5 and stage 6.
And speaking of trying to hit those high caps, we do have the patient study from both Revan and Odessa, and with the Ahri in the lobby, that is a great way to just accentuate the extra XP, get to that level 9, get to that level 10, look for those massive cap outs, as well as a birthday reunion from Milk. We've seen this win a couple of games here at EWC already.
With the extra gold you're getting, I mean, why not? You're going to have a much easier time going level 9, hitting that 2-star 5 cost, potentially winning the game off of that. We have to mention as well for the Stargazer, it will be the Mountain. So if you can get the Stargazer early, you're opening up 2 additional comps to your team. Zaya, and of course, the Lulu reroll.
Safo is going to end up with that Brawler emblem.
early on. That is going to give a lot of extra HP, give a lot of tempo to this board. On top of that, though, it's going to be Primordian, so not a ton of power overall.
Looking for Setsuko, Space Groove, and Timebreaker, two fantastic options to play in the exact line he was playing last game. One of the comfort comps for Setsuko, one of the comfort comps for really any player on this patch, because it's so stable and strong once you hit the Nami 2, and you have the chance for that additional cap out with the Blitz 2 on 9.
First glimpse of Dalsum does have worth the wait Nasus. Not exactly what you'd be looking for from that worth the wait. And we'll see what Dalsum is able to cook up with that.
We'll have to play as a tempo option, can of course play the Nasus 3 potentially all the way into that Space Groove line on stage 4. There are going to be a few win-out players for Vitality. I think this is incredibly important in a game 3 like this one. Milk, we mentioned it already with the birthday reunion. If he's able to preserve some HP on the way to 9, that's obviously fantastic. You don't want to get there, ideally, on 1 HP. Any additional econ augments he can find on 3-2, for example, or on 4-2. We saw this exact game plan from Flancy yesterday, for example. It can be so strong.
Yeah, and he also has Primordian early, though, to give even more econ. Like, this is just max econ. You've got the birthday reunion, you've got the Ari to potentially give you more XP throughout this game, finding the Primordian early to use for extra gold. So Milk really set up to try and get that fast 9, look for a win out angle. But that's the thing with an Ari lobby, is we look across this entirety of this game, and there are quite a few players looking for that fast 9.
Even someone like Soju has picked up bodyguard training. The more you level, the more value you're getting from the combat power from this augment. If you have more gold, you can level more easily, so just some immediate synergy for Soju while also still having a chance to play for a scaling augment that can help you win the game.
Yeah, this really does feel like we're just waiting for the scales to tip and everybody to be rich, everyone to have these massive roll downs, and the power level of this lobby getting extremely high. So we do have just some XP, and everyone goes there, right? Just trying to get that gold injected into their comps, as they are just looking to scale, get to level 9, and see who can hit the comp first.
Maybe a pretty easy decision. I think Soraka, one of the weaker gods overall in terms of what she offers, and I think players have to make note they want to go level 9 most of the time, so they want to have at least 2 Ari picks across the god boons to make sure they have Ari's boon to get the extra combat power on their boards for the more levels that they have going on. Precedent, a player to look out for. He's playing a more unique line with the concentration pickup, potentially playing into the Zoe reroll, which is a comp that Dadason played yesterday. He was hard griefed by Team Vision. He ended up going out in 7th in that game, and he was asking Clement, you know, is this Zoe comp strong? Because it didn't feel strong enough for me.
Turns out the stats are pretty good on it, so we will say it is strong. The question is can Prestivan get there?
You have to hit
this game. You have to hit for it to be that strong composition, and Prestivan does have the Zoe 2 already, and he does have that concentration to really help level this comp up, but how does he get to that point?
And the Arbiter for Prestivan will be just attacking, getting a chance to get some extra gold off of those attacks. So the Diana coming in now, the Arbiter as well, trying to get even more economy for a potential Zoe 3 game plan. It could just be a vertical conduit game plan as well. You don't really have to, you know, bank on only the Zoe being your carry. You have the potential for the Ace to come in stage 4 as well.
Taking a look at the streaks across this early game, nobody fully streaking through stage 2, except for Soju. On the 4 loss, able to get it over Dalsum. You're up there. Does have a only 1 loss streak, as he was looking for it earlier, but ended up picking up a win against Soju. As Revan is at the top of the tables, the extra HP for Safo and Revan from the Soraka. Did have 2 players go for that, even though they couldn't get the bonus gold that comes from 5 players taking that Raka.
We'll see for Soju now. He has faced off against most of the weaker players from MKOI. He seems happy enough to make a pretty strong board, potentially seeing he's only facing strong players now in the stage 2, and can try and kill some extra units, preserve some HP going into the end of the stage 2.
It's especially nice with having the Primordian as the synergy that is in. He's already at 40 gold on the full loss. He's printing additional gold via Primordian. So we're seeing just so many compounding injections of econ across this entire lobby. this is going to be extremely accelerated. And I think that is something that Prestivan has to watch out for going for the reroll, as this lobby does get accelerated towards the players who are getting to go fast 9, fast 8, way quicker than anticipated. Will he have the time to get this Zoe, or does he just have to play for those conduits, as you mentioned?
Looking at Soju now, starting to try and make a bit of a stronger board off of those early upgrades. Has the Rage Blade built already. This can only really go so many ways. LeBlanc has been the key Rage Blade user across these last 2 days. Of course, the Kindred is one of those options as well.
So going through neutrals, Soju completed the full loss streak. Revan with the 4 win, and Dalisum has now worth the weighted into his Nasus 3 to use for stage 3 if he tries to potentially turn around his loss streak, as he did get griefed earlier on, and now not much of a streak to really contend with. Just gonna have to look to level up this board.
Hear me out. Recombobulate on 3-2 into a Kali 3.
I mean, that
How about that?
would be cinema. For sure, that would lead to a potential MKOI win, because that would give win-out equity to Dalisum. And that is the power of worth the wait. It can turn Recombobulator into a serious threat.
The Salvager as well, the consumable from Dalisum, able to slam items now and then potentially just, put them apart, go into a different liner on later on. Essentially a mini salvage bin available for the Spanish player.
All the pressure on both of these rosters. Game 3 on elimination. Key crush on the line. 3-2 augment on this already high variance game with all the extra resources. Does he find a crazy hit like the Recombob?
Gonna be gold augment instead, so no content, no cinema plays from Dalisum here. We'll see. There's going to be some emblem synergies, of course, in the gold space. There are just a lot of great hits on 3-2. We're seeing Earth's Gambit, a potential possibility for Dalisum. If you want to consider going into the vertical space groove line, you do get some better use out of the Nasus 3 because you're not kind of replacing it in the stage 4 with the Blitzcrank.
Does go for the Gambit. We'll be getting that spatula. Taking stock of some of the pickups. Did have Soju with the little buddies, and he has been full loss streaking, so is going to be trying to get to that level 9, play around the 5 costs for the end game with that bodyguard training, which is going to give them even more combat power if he makes it there. But the contesting of the 5 costs is going to be what we're watching out for. It feels like we're playing so much of a waiting game in these early stages where everybody's just building a board for the time being. But the late game is where this all comes together with the Ahri, with these patient studies, with just all of the additional econ these players have found. It's just a waiting game before everything blows up.
It's a very different game to what we've seen from teams like T1, teams like Flash Pulls. This very high pressure, 2-cost reroll, 3-2, rolling down to 0 to pressure the lobby. As you're mentioning, I think this entire Game 3 is more geared towards the Stage 4, towards the Stage 5, towards the fight for the Namis, for example, on 4-1, which is what I expect to see from some of our players.
On board with Revan, still with the 3 Primordian, also just using a decon as he is on a 6 win. Massive amount of HP saved, because even though he has 1 single loss at the start, he got the 6 HP from the Soraka. So 103 and 102 from Revan and Sopho on their win streaks. Trying to keep the HP up for the team as it gets later on, as these players are losing so much. The ability to sacrifice and get their high cap players to level 9, to level 10 becomes invaluable, especially if they can start putting some punishment onto Vitality through these win streaks.
And both players are facing off against each other. They're also playing fairly similar AD-centric lines around the Nova, around the Akali, the Jinxes on either side. We'll see how these players end up on their final game plans in terms of contesting each other or trying to open up different paths from stage 4 onwards.
Soju, 7 loss, down to 43 health. Revan, of course, takes that loss against Sopho, has to give up. The Prestivan's got it on the other side, and now Ahri for just 8 gold. Meanwhile, Prosperity for Soraka.
We could see some tempo levels to 7 with the extra econ players have received both at the very start of the game and also now here from the Ahri.
And we already have a few players at that level 7. Prestivan, Odessa, Revan.
Have to keep our eyes on Milk as well. He can push the 7 for the TG off of the birthday reunion, and then the chance to obviously get closer and closer to level 9. Get closer and closer to maybe becoming a win-out player. There is, of course, some variance involved with the 5 cost you're getting. For Odessa here, he was a Corki player yesterday. He might just be a Corki player again in the most important game potentially of Odessa's career up until now. This game 3 up against Vitality. Yesterday did not quite work out for Odessa. He went 5th and 6th on the Corki line up against Team Vision.
And it can be scary. The stats for Corki were not fantastic yesterday. We felt like coming into the tournament, Corki would be heavily contested, but it has not been the hot commodity it was anticipated to be. The AP flex lines have been significantly more powerful, and it is going to be Prestivan versus Safo. Prestivan did push that level 7 on 3-5, but he still has 55 gold in the bank to work with.
The battle for the win streak at the end of the stage 3 here. Prestivan trying to push the tempo of the lobby, trying to punish Safo for not quite being strong enough. It looks like the Belveth is doing a lot of work. The Jinx does not cast again, and Safo does get taken down. Prestivan doing a lot of work for Vitality in the stage 3.
And his Arbiter paying a lot of extra. We were wondering, you know, wow, he's level 7, 50 plus gold. Arbiter's been generating gold as well from the Ari. You're getting even more, and it's just compounding all that interest together as Prestivan is at level 7 and can keep pushing the tempo of the lobby even further, as Soju has now found a LeBlanc for the Shepherds, and he does have that little buddy, so he's going to be able to give a lot of additional attack speed.
A really good setup for Soju already. We saw the early lose streak, yes, but now he's turning things around with the early LeBlanc copy. The little buddies make so much sense with the Shepherd board in general on level 8. Also holding the Jinxes, playing the Grief Fight tactics up against Safo's game plan of trying to go for potentially a Jinx 3, while allowing Revan to play more for the high tempo 80 lines.
Yeah, and Soju with the red buff slam, this is really open towards Vex as the end game out for Soju if he does end up playing around 5 costs. I think 5 costs are going to be played around a lot in this game. We're not sure exactly where they'll fall yet, and who may just try and cap out on 8, playing around something like Shepherd or playing around even the Xayah. We haven't seen so much on this game plan yet, but there's been a lot of extra economy to just get to the Xayah Jhin combo we saw win in the last game.
Important win for Soju here, considering he was the lowest HP player from Vitality. So a bit of a trade of HP there between Milk and Soju coming into the end of stage 3. We're seeing the Jinx 2 potentially can be purchased by Soju if he wants to deny the reroll game plan for Safo. And for Prestivan, I mean, he's the strongest player in this lobby by far right now. Not just in current board strength, but I think also in his projection. Level 7, 80 gold. The Zoe 2 all the way at the beginning of stage 2 has put in so much work for Prestivan.
And Safo even took care package, so he didn't even invest that much into his current power. He's getting more later out of this augment selection. So as you said, not only that power now, but the projection's looking good. As we do have Soju picking up a pair of LeBlancs, does get an Ornn for the front line to help stabilize as well. And he's going to start to roll down on 8 as he does level up. Finds the Corki and the Rammus to hold it. LeBlanc 2 picked up for Soju.
A great turn already for Vitality. Big upgrades, big contests, big grief from Soju as well, holding on to a Rammus 2 on the bench. While Prestivan says, you know what? I have an early Shen. My Zoe 2 is putting in enough work. I have a lot of HP to work with. I'm going straight to 9.
Yeah, Prestivan gonna look to potentially win out for Vitality. Going to that 9, just goes to 8 and stays at 56 gold. Setsuko on the other end also playing towards an AP line, runs into Soju. A little bit of team killing happening here, but it is just going to be a bit of damage onto Setsuko as Soju has leveled up his board significantly with that LeBlanc upgrade.
We'll have to look at the boards for both Setsuko and Dalisom. They are, I think, the 2 expected Space Groove players coming into stage 4. Setsuko has not rolled yet. He still has a big roll down to work with.
Prismatics.
It is Prismatics on for 2 Commerce score potentially for Setsuko if he thinks, hey, Prestivan's going to win the game. I just need to find my stability. I need to find my upgrades right now. This is my key turn.
And he is going to roll down on 8. Finds a Nunu. Early Graves passes it up, though. Does have more of an AP line. Ends up finding a Fiora.
And this is a really,
as well.
a really cool tech from Setsuko, playing around the Stargazer +1 by playing Stargazer early to just print an emblem he can play onto this board with the Nunu and the Lulu and the Replicator. A really cool variation from Setsuko, getting some extra value from the Mountain constellation.
Yeah, ends up finding a Blitzcrank pair on this roll down on 8. With the Space Cruise spat, going to be very powerful for Setsuko, but doesn't really put together too much of a composition on that roll down. He's still a bit behind, lots of pairs, no big upgrades. And he runs into Odessa, who does have the Corki 2. Even though he's been a bit griefed, he's been able to find a Nunu 2 and Corki 2 to stabilize from this spot.
And for Odessa, he has to try and win every single fight in stage 4. That's his mission. If he accomplishes it, he's done his job for Movistar Koi in this game 3. Dalesom equally has not quite found the stability just yet. He's sitting on the Nami pair. He needs to find the key backline upgrade.
Yeah, there's the frontline upgrade with the Morgana to add to this very powerful frontline already. And with the upgraded Riven, there's at least a decent amount of power on the board, but he's not even, oh no, he is paired on the Nami. It is just one more that he has to get there, but no gold to spend.
The Blitz pair for Setsuko is pretty damn scary with Commerce Core. If Setsuko can somehow find a Blitz 2 on level 8, this could swing the entire game in Vitality's favor. Soju also has now stabilized on the 4 win streak we're seeing there on the right-hand side. So Vitality is doing what it needs to do in terms of stability in stage 4.
And Setsuko printed an additional Stargazer emblem now, looking for that Nami to carry, but the Riven gets on the back line and takes it out, making this fight massive for Dalesom. It's not only going to be a win, but it is going to be so much damage onto Setsuko as his carry fell so early.
The Challenger AI on that Riven, sneaking into the backline, killing off the Nami. What a swing. In Dalesom's favor, we're seeing the last God boon offered here. Some extra rolls from Ari. I think going to be a pretty appealing option, considering it seems like almost everyone but Soju is still missing their 2-star 4-cost upgrades.
Yeah, and Setsuko 1 copy away from that Blitzcrank upgrade. That can very well stabilize him. Getting 7 more rolls can absolutely get him there.
And Setsuko, I think this is his offering here in terms of the Pengu offering. Not able to find the Blitzcrank, unfortunately. That would have been a huge high roll for him.
Looking at Soju's pickup, he gets another Nunu that he gets on the board, try and stabilize the front line a little bit more, finds the Karma, gets a Blitzcrank of his own that he's holding on to the bench.
Odessa still does not have a single copy of Rammus because Soju is holding 4 different copies. There's a Corki as well in Soju's shop. We'll see if he wants to hold it, considering that Odessa is on 5 Corkis right now. He did pick up new recruit. He does have a duplicator as well, so the 3-star 4-cost is being threatened at the very least by Odessa.
Yeah, and with how much gold everybody has, it is a big possibility that we could see it happen. Soju does have a pretty strong power spike with the Sona having some items. Does need to look for the Sona too. But right now, the LeBlanc is very stable. The front line needs a little bit more juice as it is a 1-star Morgana. Kind of anchoring that as Dalesom still playing around the 3-star Nasus, which has heavily fallen off at this point. It's down to Nami versus LeBlanc, but the Morgana, even at 1-star, does keep the front line intact. And the LeBlanc gets there. Dalesom going to be going down to still 2 lives, but barely. 15 can go down in a single loss.
Sapo has to roll or sell that Nami. Actually, no, I think Dalesom has already hit the Nami too. We saw them in that last fight, so maybe correct to hold it in the shop here.
Yeah, Setsuko has hit the Nami as well now, and just on the pair of Blitzcranks as the big thing that he needs to find. At that point, this board is terrifying. He has that Commerce Core, as you said, with 5 rerolls right now banked up that he can use. Safo has hit a bunch of these 3-stars. He found the Belveth, he found the Jinx, a lot of power on this board. He goes up against Soju, who has found a Nunu 2 for the front line, but no Morgana upgrade yet with those 3 items. Does have this Belveth, which can eventually get to the back line. Once this Morgana falls, he needs all the damage to come through from this LeBlanc. And just long enough is this Morgana holding for LeBlanc to take out the 3-stars. But now Jinx versus the LeBlanc, and LeBlanc takes her down on a sliver of HP and a massive chunk out of Safo.
This was the fight Safo had to win. It was a turn he spiked. He had to attack Soju's HP. He was not able to do so. A very close fight in the end there. The Jinx and the Bel'Veth duo carry not able to do enough. And Odessa, I think he's not going to find the Rammus 2 this game at all. I'm not sure he even has a singular copy of Rammus, considering we saw 3 on Setsuko's board and a ton on Soju's bench.
We thought this fight might happen at level 9 with the amount of econ, but instead, everybody uses it to roll down so aggressively on level 8, hit their comp, hold the opponent's comp, and try and end the game by dealing as much damage as possible. And Vitality may succeed. They've pushed 3 members of MKOI into the bottom 3, and just Revan holds fast at 50 himself. But the health numbers are so close across the entire lobby. It's a lead for Vitality, but it is not set in stone.
And Milk, he's trying to go 9. He's trying to get that birthday reunion online. Triple Ari Boon pickup, maximum economy alongside the loot sub, trying to play into this exact game plan.
See if he can get there. He has the HP to lose a couple of rounds, find his way to level 9, try and cap out this board. He had his items on the bench. He may be looking to sack, but he's going to have to slam. Going up against Dalism, he could potentially win this. 3-item Kindra, 3-item on to the Akali, but Akali just going to go down near
Watch the Riven.
Instantly, and Riven gets onto the carry as well. This is going to be a massive loss for Milk.
I'm not sure what Dalism has been telling this Riven, but she is an absolute machine for him. Back-to-back wins in Stage 4 and in Stage 5, with the Riven wrapping onto the backline, putting in so much work.
But Setsuko is going to be able to hit Revan. Soju does lose to Odessa as HP starts to equalize. Safo and Odessa coming in clutch in this round alongside Dalism. This was a massive win for MKOI across the board.
Does Milk have enough gold to go 9? Does he want to wait one more turn? Does he want to play for an even greedier roll down on the next round? Time's running out. Milk is losing his... Yeah, I think he has to go now. He decides that he does find the Graves. It's not going to have that much time to scale, but hey, it's a Graves 2 coming online onto the board. We'll see if he tries to pivot entirely off of the Nova line into the Vec, into the Fiora.
He sells the Graves, just goes into instead the Fiora. It is just a single copy, but immediately selling your birthday reunion 2-star 5 cost is not the look you wanted, as Milk going up against Precedent is just going to be who can deal the least damage to the other. Precedent gonna win with the Aurelion Soul and the Karma. Big chunk out of Milk, but Milk was potentially the one that needed to look for the win out with that birthday reunion. Not gonna get there. Team damage across the board. MKOI versus MKOI, Vitality versus Vitality. Safo gonna win. Dalism kept alive. Odessa now on the 2 lives at 17.
It could not be a closer game. 12 HP separates first place in the standings and 8th place. The sandwich, once again, Safo and Revan at the very top. Odessa and Dalism, they could be on their last life. If Dalism takes a big enough loss, that could be it. We are in Stage 5.
Setsuko still unable to find the Blitzcrank upgrade, but he does go to level 9 to increase his odds going forward. Milk versus Safo into this reroll composition. The Akali is going to potentially get focused straight away, as a lot of damage already went on to Kindred. Akali is down straight away. This is a Shen upgrade, has a damage item and a tank item. He can potentially get the 3rd cast, does just get it, but it is a little too late, as now Kindred on to the Jinx, but not able to get the job done. Milk going to take a ton of damage from Safo, but Dalism has gone down. Vitality draws first blood.
Odessa also down to 1 HP. He does stay alive at the very least.
But Milk and Soju also taking losses, and they were the lowest members for Vitality. MKOI was just a little bit lower, and someone smacked Dalism down.
A crazy final board from Odessa. 5 Stargazer, 4 Bastion, Corki carry. This is not the usual Meeple board we're used to seeing.
Having to cook quite a bit to get here, but he does have the 6 copies of Corki to have the dual carry online. But is it enough? Corki has underperformed, and especially underperformed in the hands of Odessa here at EWC. Will it be a repeat from their series yesterday? He's up against Setsuko. It is Anami, the AP carry that has been running rampant so far. She's opposite side to the Corki. Both of them are going to take their sweet time getting through these front lines and getting to the end.
The Nunu snowball goes wide while it connects for Setsuko, and that may make a big enough difference. The Riven punches through, but the Corkies get the final shots. Odessa hangs on a little bit longer.
The burst of damage coming out from the Corkies kills the Riven, the Blitz, and the Nami in basically one singular burst. A double Corki comp is so powerful exactly for this reason. Despite the Nunu being on the wrong side, not getting a pivotal stun on the Rivens, it didn't matter in the end.
5 players on single-digit HP, single lives. We could have the end of the game on this round, or it can continue for a mile longer. This is it. This is the moment. Vitality versus MKOI. Who will be crushed?
A guaranteed elimination for MKOI here. It's Revan versus Odessa. The bigger question is, who's going to be the win-out player for MKOI?
Milk versus Soju on the other end. I'm not seeing either board weaken. Survival of the fittest for these teams. Nunu with the snowball down. Odessa with the double Corki punching through the front line. It looks like the Akalis are not the compositions to live and outlast the rest in this game. It's gonna be the Corki. All the marbles on Odessa on the comp that has failed him so many times as Revan and Prestivan fall alongside Soju. And it's gonna come down to which player can take first place.
It's all about the win. Sapo is currently first place in the HP right now, but he is playing Jinx reroll. This is not a comp that usually wins out games. Can Sapo find a way to cap out this comp even higher? With Ari, he's been able to make it to 9. Can Odessa, with this absolute cook of a comp with a double Corki Stargazer Mountain setup, actually play for the win? Or can Milk and Setsuko win it all for Vitality?
He failed on Corki twice yesterday, but Odessa is giving it another shot with this absolute cook, and it might just be enough. But it is Milk's last stand alongside Setsuko, who is still yet to find the Blitzcrank after rolling so much. If he could find it, it would feel maybe as though it's in the clutches of Vitality, but it needs to survive one more fight to get there. Meanwhile, Milk back to all reliable. The Akali, it has been so powerful across the course of this tournament, but can Milk in his final stand, his potential final game of TFT competitive, can he get the job done?
Is Milk versus Setsuko, the Nova line versus Setsuko's Nami Blitz. Trio carry, the Riven is moving onto the backline now as well. I think she might actually move directly onto the Kindred. She's very, very close. I think this might be the win for Setsuko. He might be the player to try and defend this all for Vitality.
The fate of Milk will be in Setsuko's hands. The trust put into the player who has been known for capping boards across his entire career. Setsuko, the best player at doing this potentially in the world, going up against Safo, the new young blood from the Spanish region. This is insanity. One of these teams will advance further. One team will be crushed.
Can Sapo somehow win against a capped out Space Groove line with Jinx 3 and Bel'Veth 3? That's the big question. The burst coming in the left side of the screen, that's what we have to pay attention to.
The Blitz never found, looked for the wrap from the Riven. Can it make its way to the backline? Can it make its way to the Jinx? She sneaks to the middle of the board. She's not there yet, but where will she move next? Does she go to the Kindred? Does she go to the left? It is going to be the Bel'Veth that was thrown in front by the Blitzcrank. She doesn't the Blitz onto the Jinx. Does not get a cast off. The Jinx blows up the board, and it will be MKOI taking down Vitality.
The Blitz was a sliver away, but the burst from the Jinx came through. The amount of damage killing off the Blitz and the Riven yet again. And then the easy cleanup on the backline from Setsuko's Space Groove board. What a surprise. What a dark horse finish from MKOI here, sending a message to the rest of the competitors in this tournament. They are here to play some high-level TFT.
An insane upset from MKOI, and you can see it written on the faces of Vitality. A crushing loss. Back-to-back years. They came with the plan that anything less than first was a failure, and they still cannot escape out of groups back-to-back. It's crushing for Milk. This may be his last time competing in TFT, wanting to leave in a high note, and unfortunately going to leave in the group stage.
The MKOI magic, too much to handle. The power of friendship, the synergy, the game plans, the adaptation, game to game, the handshakes comes through. The respect I think these two teams have to have for each other with how close this series was. An absolutely insane 1v1 finish there between Safo and Setsuko.
Monstrous performance from Safo across this series. In game 1, it was the Lulu stabilization on the no scout, no pivot. The entire story of that game was, can they send him 8th? And they couldn't. And now, when they needed to clutch it up the most, in a 1v1 against Setsuko, storied for his ability to cap out boards, he gets it done. We send it now to the stage to talk to MKOI.
All right, it is KOI winning this match. Congratulations, guys. That pop-up at the end, that celebration, the team feels so happy. How are the vibes?
We are super happy to actually win. It was really close, but in the end we got it, so really happy.
So now you're there. We know you missed last year, and now you're back still at the same team, stronger. Objective is to win at the end of the weekend. Tomorrow you're back with more matches. What's up for tonight? Are we celebrating or are we preparing tomorrow?
We are probably gonna play some flex queue to be ready for tomorrow.
All right, last question, of course, bro. Spain just won World Cup. You have to win the other World Cup, right?
We are gonna do it, and we are gonna do while Super Estrella is singing in the back, like in the football team.
Vamos España! Congratulations, KOI!
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now it is time for a key to be crushed as we say goodbye to Team Vitality here in TFT for the Esports World Cup. Congratulations, brother. You got to be feeling hella relieved right now, huh? How intense was that match at the end? It was clutch.
It was pretty close, but we are happy we did it, and we actually showed that EU is way better than NA.
Oh, he talking spicy. Man, go crash your key. Go ahead. Yeah, so right here, actually, our key master. Yo, I can't even defend it. I can't even defend us in a. The victory speak for itself. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And ladies and gentlemen, just like that, that's gonna do it as movie star KOI moves on in the bracket, and we say goodbye to Team Vitality. Ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for us right here, but we do have a little bit more for you over at the studio. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Man, movie star KOI living in the movie, it seems. They're the main characters, eliminating Vitality. Movie star KOI move forward. What a moment this is for the organization, Latin America as a whole. They fought hard to do so, and they got the job done. Vitality's key has been crushed.
I just can't believe how many of these games go down to the absolute wire. So many of these seem like the finals for the very first game.
It's intense for sure, but Milk, we've got to say goodbye. Unfortunately, he will be retiring. It's heartbreaking, to say the least.
We have to give him a proper send-off. He actually led the entire region twice at the TAC round, was known as one of the best one-trick players ever, but he is moving on to a different stage in life, and we wish him the best in his future endeavors.
Yes, we do. Of course, let's start recapping that final game, which was the send-off of Milk's career. We start with our first action from game number 3, and it was an intense one for sure. What are we looking at?
Well, of course, you know, bringing Milk into focus again. course, we had the birthday present not turning out to be exactly what he was hoping for. There are so many variables at play in all of these games, but that was just one piece that didn't fit.
We were setting up kind of the conclusion. It was starting off with Vitality in a very strong position. They had 2 win-out players in both Milk and Setsuko, and they got the correct players into the Final Four. So whoever won the last fight was going to take everything. And we had 2 player eliminations earlier on to kind of set the stage up for that to happen.
And I do want to switch across to Koi and talk about Sappho in particular. In this series, as I was saying on the cast, he had some absolutely incredible career-making moments here. We pulled it back from the brink. That last fight in particular, I could not believe it.
Yeah, I mean, even Sappho, right, versus Milk from game number 1, and Sappho staying alive very well could have been the difference maker, and it, in fact, was. We take a look at our second action from game number 3 as it went down.
Oh, and this was such a tough fight. Very unfortunate on the side of Setsuko. He had 2 high cap games, but could not find the Blitzcrank in either of them. And I want you to look at the left side of the map. There were so many low HP units about to be taken out, but the spread damage did not finish the targets off. On the other side for Sappho, he gets the Challenger procs early on the killed units on the right side, and is able to roll from right to left and finish off Setsuko.
I just can't believe the decision from Movie Star Koi to put this all in Sappho's hands with the Jinx board. I just didn't think that was going to be able to pull off this level of play.
It's just an amazing start for Sappho, really seeing the torch passing from Revan, who opened it up for Spain, who was the first TAC round player, and then handing it to Sappho, which MKOI says is their best new carry on the team.
Well, this is, in fact, day number 2. We've had a lot of great action. Let's start walking you through some of it. Of course, now looking at Stream A, or Group A, I should say, excuse me. Group A has been absolutely action-packed for sure. And just looking at the opening matches, the quarterfinals, man, I mean, come on, Weibo Gaming T1, that's where we started. That could very well be the grand finals. Well, I guess not. Or actually, excuse me, it still can be. T1 still in. Godlike Esports, of course, getting a big win. Vision looking strong, and Flash Wolves as well. Going through the gauntlet, forged in fire, they continue to live. But Group B was equally as impressive for sure. And again, you go back to the opening matches, and we had so much go down, including AGAL representing their organization not only as a team in TFT, but also for the club championship race. Virtus Pro also getting some tremendous wins, Aura Gaming and Zeta Division. There's still plenty more matches to come, and this is going to be our schedule for tomorrow. It's all happening here on Stream A. So much to go down, and let's not forget, we're also crushing some more keys tomorrow. We'll be starting off with Team Vision versus T1, Aurora Gaming versus Mouse, Zeta Division, Noxium Red Force, and Godlike Esports and Movie Star Koi. In fact, they'll all be decider matches. It's going to be intense, but we crushed some keys today, and Kitty, I'm ready to hear who keys we ended up getting rid of.
We are crushing keys, and keys were crushed today with the lower bracket playing out. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to 4 teams who are officially eliminated from the Esports World Cup 2026, including JDG, Nemesis, Fnatic, and Vitality. This is a brutal format with no time for adjustments. So, who can come out on top? Because we have the quarterfinals coming up. Damascus, what do we think about tomorrow's games?
Listen, Kitty, tomorrow's games are looking ridiculous. Taylor mentioned one, and that's the one I want to talk about, right? T1 versus Vision, lower bracket, one of them has to get out. T1 one of the favorite, Vision winning through the hardest qualifier in China. One key is getting crushed, though.
I almost said that there's no way that T1 loses to dang near anybody right now after they showed that plot armor, but Team Vision has shown how insane they are. We've seen a big 2-0 on day 1, big 2-0 victory, and with them qualifying through the China region, the strongest region in the world, that goes to show that they do have an extremely strong chance to win this entire thing.
Of course, only banger matches tomorrow. As all of the matches tomorrow are elimination matches. We've seen Koi being super excited. We hope they do well as well. I love the bit of trash talk.
Hold up, well, you said everything is an elimination match, huh?
Yeah.
So you mean every single match, somebody got to go home?
Yeah, NA is already home, just so you know.
Put some respect on NA. I really had to stand there while my man said that EU was way better than NA. That said, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't want somebody to talk trash, then you got to handle it on the sticks and get your W. And of course, that's what Movie Star Koi did. And with all of our teams tomorrow are going to be trying to do as well. At this point, it is all elimination matches, the highest of stakes, the creme de la creme in the world of team fight tactics. You do not want to miss day 3. We'll see you then.
We book Esports World Cup.